the king of Northumberland.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Toon Review, a lunchtime show on our new signing, Mr. Sven Botman, and we've got some really interesting stats and stuff to look through this afternoon, based upon previous performances, how he's done, how he fit into the team, what we can expect to see from Sven Botman. So a very good show is coming up. First of all, J. Clough Jr., thank you for your $17.99 super chat. He says, thanks to all the Toon Review for all your great content. Thank you very much. And Optimal Forager, I believe that's 200 yen in Japan. Thank you very, very much for that as well. We'll go through a few comments, Alex, before we get into the nitty-gritty of Sven Botman. Dunk says, a very good day to one and all, and welcome to Sven Botman. He looks the real deal. Under Eddie, I'm sure he'll improve even more. Seeing him and Big Dan facing you will be enough to turn your hair white, if indeed it is Dan Burn that he plays with. Welcome, Batman number 4, by player quality number 4, player featuring Bruno Gomes, Chao Kwan, Sue, Lucas Perquetta. I haven't a clue what that means, but never mind. Andy raced into work for 6:30 a.m. and you changed it to 7 a.m. 2 speed traps were there as well. Well, I'm sorry, mate. Louis, good afternoon. Just been to St. James's Park and bought the new Saudi kit, an absolute stunner. Yeah, looking forward to receiving mine. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on one. I like the home and the third kits. Perhaps I will buy both. Not sure of which size, though. Good afternoon, Glenn. Hope you're well. 200 did a look back in history review of the 2001-2 season earlier today. Well worth a watch. Can't wait for my Saudi-inspired top to arrive. Good afternoon, Peel Keith. Goat Linton says, what would our next sign be, striker or right wing? Who knows? We'll have to just wait and see on that one. Shane, good morning. Sorry, good evening in Australia. I'm used to saying good morning, but it's good evening. 10 p.m. there. Coffee made. New Newcastle United shirt ordered. Now time for some Toon Review. Thanks, mate. Good afternoon, Gary. Good afternoon, Ian. Hope you're well, mate. My spoons are sold for the day, Gary and Glenn, so I'm ready for a bit of Toon Review. Oh, my God. Selling the spoons. Seeing as Paul is apparently getting a new back, could he possibly go pick Perquetta up and give him a new back? What the hell? I'm sure. George, hello from Romania. I'm pretty new at this podcast. Very pleased with this transfer. Well, welcome, George. Please do get yourself subscribed for more and more and more. Thank you very much. Bondi Beach says King Batman. Craig says, hi, guys. Great time to watch here in Australia. We seem to have a lot of subscribers in Australia, Alex, so it's a very good time for them. Jim says, a bonus with Botman is there shouldn't be any language barriers, so he can give a shout to his fellow defenders. I guess so, yeah. And there goes me skipping again.
Does he definitely speak English?
Well, until we hear him speak, I guess we don't know, do we? So that's interesting.
It's not something I actually checked. That's a fair comment. That is something you should be learning on Football Manager, is how players acclimatise and friends groups within the dressing room and language. It is important. Our lads are all very sort of close knit from the season just gone. So hopefully he assimilates into a group and makes friends.
Gary says, absolute mega signing for us. Definitely one who will grow and improve with the team. From all accounts, the club's number one target for a long while. Well, obviously, he's been on the radar since January. Tampa Toon, thank you very much for your $10 super chat. Breakfast with the Toon Review. And thank you for your late super chat last night when the show finished, Tampa. Very, very kind of you, mate. Thank you so much for that one as well. So this is the man who, of course, has signed. Kind of smile on his face, as like people like to put it. What would you first like to bring up about Mr. Botman? We'll look at them first. They're the stats on him.
Yeah, so we'll just bring the generic FBref page up to start off with, just as a reminder. I'm sure there's a few people that have already had a cheeky look at this. Just some observations about the page. Didn't start all of the minutes available this season. Had a little bit of an injury, had a hamstring, had a groin, but came back stronger and was was picked for every available minute, or every minute that he was available for, he was used because he's very highly rated. The season that they won the title in Ligue 1, he played all the minutes, but he didn't get any goals or assists. So this season, he's actually added a bit to his game offensively. He's scored a bit from a corner and 3 goals, 1 assist in Ligue 1, which is very nice. So key point being 22 and a half years old. Very, very important that we've managed to bring the age of our back line down slightly. With Matt Targett being considerably younger than Matt Ritchie, who's been playing there. Botman equally being considerably younger than Kieran Clark and Dan Burn. I know we love Dan Burn, but he still is the wrong side of 30 for progression. So ticks all the right boxes. Champions League experience. 12 caps for the under-21 Netherlands team, and he is the captain of the under-21. So interesting to see when and if he makes that step up to the senior national team. And yeah, this is essentially why we've signed him.
Well, I like to see plenty green there, Alex. That's quite a good sign.
Yeah, well, it's green in the right places. It's a sign that we're starting to transition into a team who wants to be on the ball a bit more, be a bit more attacking, a bit more dangerous, and have control of games. So somebody who touches the ball, somebody who tries to pass the ball 59 times per game, and not to throw poor big Jam under the bus, but Lascelles is averaging sort of 29 to 30 attempted passes per 90. So he's doubling what Lascelles is doing passes per 90, which, we need. We need somebody who is a lot more comfortable on the ball, and the accuracy is considerably higher as well. He's very, very tidy in that regard. And he can also do the dirty work that we like. We like Lascelles' dirty work. Sometimes he comes across with a big slide tackle. He's strong in the air. And Botman can also do that just as well with his aerials, his blocks, his clearances. This does him dirty on his interceptions, but he's very good positionally. Very, very similar to Dan Burn in that because he lacks the initial acceleration, he has to be positioned well. Often quite good at intercepting and just cutting passing lanes. So very clever for his age as well, which is one of the reasons why he's so highly rated, because he's intelligent, and obviously holds very good company with his comparisons with his fellow compatriot De Ligt there. Obviously the new West Ham signing.
Well, I'm liking the names that are on that side, to be honest.
Yeah, Jonathan Tah's been a popular name for a couple of years. Obviously Diego Carlos at Villa's on there as well. So who still had a very, very good season, was a very, very good centre-back. So, yeah, absolute coup here. And if we scroll down just so people can see, he did come through the Ajax Academy. I think they did actually poach him from somewhere else, but we'll have a look at that later. Spent a year on loan at Herenveen in the Eredivisie before he got his move to Lille, and then bang, pipped PSG to the title in his first season with 3,300 minutes, and was an absolute rock. So, yeah, we have got a talent on our hands for sure. But that's it for the initial FB ref. So we will move on to Twitter in a minute, unless you want to go through comments.
Well, just a few more comments. Thugden says all Dutch people can speak English. They can actually. It's very, very well known that a lot of Dutch people have English as the second language anyway. So hopefully that's the case with Botman, and he's away straight away. Trolls, thank you for your 20 Norwegian kroner, matey. So kind, and thank you for your continued contribution. Dominic says he speaks English anyway, so he's obviously heard him talk. Ian says it's reported that he's fluent, so that will help. Shane says lucky Botman didn't have to go to Spurs because he'd have to teach Harry Kane English. Oh, dear. Amini Guriri, is it? Guriri? Potential striker? Yeah.
He's not quite striker, but he's young. He's more of a wide forward. We'll see. We've reviewed him before, and his name's still floating about. So if there are any stronger links or his name comes up again, we'll have another look at him. His name still is floating around. So it's interesting.
It is. Billy, good afternoon. He says, I'm on the Skive, hiding behind a machine, but looking forward to this. Nice one, Billy. Ian Anderson, thank you for becoming a new member of the channel. Again, I'm not sure if that's a renewal or a new membership, but welcome to the family, my friend, or thank you for continuing your support. Dan says, I legitimately wonder in 3 years, will we think Bruno or Batman is a better signing? Listen, they're two very different players, and if they play to the potentials, then both of them are going to be absolute quality for us. There's no doubt about that. So apparently he's been interviewed on YouTube, so he does speak English. So there you go. Tracy says, I watched an interview with Sven on YouTube and he can speak English okay. Good news. Toon Dave says, afternoon all. Botman did an interview with Ornstein. So that's where they get the English from. Make a separate Football Manager 22 channel and have a viewer competition. Oh. Do I not do enough rages on the original channel? Rene, good afternoon. Hope you're well. Sorry, Paul was meant to say bike, not back. All right, there you go. Callum says, making a full English breakfast while listening to you guys. Life couldn't be better.
I mean, you could be eating it, not making it.
Well, absolutely, yes. Afternoon all was at the ground yesterday buying the Saudi style top. It's good, but normally I'm a 2XL, but settled on 4XL on this one. It's slightly baggy on me, but I look very smart. Good. I'm just hoping mine fits. I really am, because I really like the shirt and I'd like it to fit. Good afternoon. I like coffee. Afternoon, Jordan. Gaz says over the moon with the transfers, but imagine Osimhen, Diaby, and Paqueta added to that team. We would be in dreamland. Just a little bit, yeah, just a little bit. Hello, David. Glenn says he does not replace Big Dan B in my team. Well, that's going to be interesting because we've got some stats to look at a little bit later, which might change your mind a little bit on that one. Mason says, I generally hope he's our Vincent Kompany. I mean, Alex, if he's as good as Vincent Kompany, we've got an absolute star.
Yeah, if we can have somebody that performs at that level for a long period of time, it just helps. It helps so much. We could do with sort of a spine of the team, which doesn't need to be tinkered with too much. So we can add, and so for example, if we got Wilson stays fit and plays well for a few more years, or a subsequent striker that comes in, and then you've got Bruno and Joe Linton can crack on for 2 or 3 more years, and Botman as well. It gives us a good, as we're transitioning to try and push towards European places and challenge a bit more for different things. Just having a spine that is more consistent and of a high quality, it just it helps a lot.
I suppose it's really nice to know as well that, in previous years, we were signing players with obviously an idea that obviously Ashley's to make money. This time it's very different, that we're bringing these players in not to make money. We're bringing players in to win things, which is a completely different context to what we used to.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to selling him if there was the right offer. Obviously, occasionally, from time to time, teams come in and give you a silly offer for a player. If he has an incredible season and somebody comes and offers 100 million for him, then absolutely yes. Because we would hope that our scouting department is savvy enough to then reinvest that and improve the squad tenfold. So it does depend. I don't want to sell him. I would much prefer he ticked the company box and stayed with us for a long time. But that's why we went to the trouble of getting Dan Ashworth and that's why we're linked with a lot of these 15, 16-year-old little wonder kids.
Yeah.
It looks like they are doing it in a very sensible and the right way. So if people do start throwing big money at us and silly money, it just means that we're just never going to have any financial issues. They're just going to fund the build.
I mean, what I tend to mean by that is we're not like a selling club anymore. When we're bringing these players in to look at making profits and things like that. You're certainly right about that.
We're not going to be forced to. It will be, if it's good enough, then maybe we'll think about it. But we just don't need to.
I mean, there will be that happening. If we sign in a lot of youngsters now, there will be the case where where hopefully we're at the right end of the table battling away, that we can get these massive offers for these type of players and then bring in somebody even better because of where we hopefully are going to be in a few years' time. But it's nice to know that they're not just going to use the club as a stepping stone, that they're going to want to win things here. Certainly Bruno, with the attitude he's got, I mean, he can become an absolute legend at this football club because of the attitude he's got, and hopefully that will rub off on the new signings.
The only thing that scares me about Bruno is Real Madrid. That's the only, because obviously Brazilians do grow up watching Spanish teams. I'm not really scared of anybody anymore. Barcelona are not what they were 5 to 10 years ago in terms of an attraction financially. They're it's a different story, but obviously Real Madrid are probably the only team that could come in and turn people like Bruno's heads. obviously they do have Modric and Kroos aging. So at some point in the next 18 months to 2 years, they are going to come in and possibly drop big money on certain midfielders. So that's the only thing that concerns me. But Botman, I think, yeah, we should be absolutely fine. There's no reason to sell him. I mean,
Well,
fortunately,
it all
being
depends how he
Dutch,
performs, of course, isn't it? We have to wait and see.
exactly.
Not that I'm saying for 1 second he's going to be a flop, but this guy is coming with a big reputation. His progression should be fantastic to watch with Eddie Howe. That's what I'm
People
looking
have got to
forward
give
to the
him
most.
time. People
Oh
do
yeah,
have to give him
without a
time. I
doubt.
mean, he gave away 2 penalties last year. He will make mistakes. He will 100% make mistakes. And we cannot throw our toys out the pram when he does, because he will make mistakes. He's young. He's in a new league, in a new team, and he's still learning. He's still very, very, very good, but he will make mistakes. Promise you. And we've just got to. Obviously, a lot of people are very logical and will be fine about that, but some people will start getting annoyed, and it's we've got to make sure we support them in the same way we did with Bruno. We've given some of these new lads time and they've developed. We've got to be patient. Just because we're throwing slightly more money at somebody doesn't mean they don't deserve the time. They still do.
Yeah. Well said. James says, hi, Paul and Alex. Loving the show as always. Where do I find your email, as I have a long-winded message to share about Talk Sport attacking our owners and club last night? Well, the email address is right at the bottom of the description, mate, for the actual show. So if you just scroll down, it's right at the bottom. Shane says, not Botman related, but I've got a feeling we'll make another move for Ekiteke. Thoughts? I'm not so sure, mate. I really, really don't know. If we do, we do. But look, has he been burned? With what his agent's been doing, who knows? Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? I guess we'll find out. Terry says, watching the show on my lunch break. Catch up later. Great show. Life's exciting for us Geordies at the moment. It is. Callum says he will be eating that breakfast in a minute, Alex. Botman is an absolute powerhouse. I love how we're bringing in different nationalities. Jamie says, if you had to bet on one player right now to finish as our player of the season, who would you put your money on? Bruno. I don't think we get it. I think that would be everybody's bet straight away. Full season with Bruno. I think he can be inspiring. But again, I don't think we're finished with signings yet, so it'll be very interesting to see who we bring in. Right, Alex, you want to move on to Twitter? I just need to clarify that Sanjay, who did this thread, has given us his full permission to use it on the show today. So a big thanks to Sanjay for letting us do that. Okay, Alex.
Yeah, so I've been very busy painting and moving, and would love to have had the time to have done something as good as this. But Sanjay's done an excellent thread on Botman and what he could bring to the team, and so I'm going to pick from it because it's very, very good, and why not? IX Academy graduate, we mentioned on his FB ref. Very, very important that, he's got good pedigree going through the youth systems. They have the whole total football idea, very, very competent on the ball, very good positionally. I mean, and these are things that are features in his game right now, and it shows. It always shows where they've come from academy-wise. So obviously he was integral in the title win. So we've got his standard heat map. It is very nice having a little gander at his heat maps from game to game. Quite happy to step up close to the centre circle, halfway line, competent on the ball, spray it about. Been through a couple of managers with Gaultier and Gorvenets in the last couple of seasons. Generally playing in a 4-2-2, a 4-4-2 even. But I have seen, when I was doing research, I literally went back and checked every single match on SofaScore. Few games of a 4-2-2-2. The funny one that Rangnick tried to employ for Man United, that was the old Leipzig structure.
Failed.
So it didn't work so well. It was interesting. So, but he is very, very comfortable in a back four. So important things. Very, very strong, as people know. 6'4.5", 6'5", depends what stats and sites you look at. That is the important thing. Is obviously. I'm going to put this out there now. I personally think he starts ahead of Dan Burn. Excuse me. I think that's how it's going to happen. My voice is going to go at times during this. I am a bit sick today. I do apologise. So I think he starts ahead of Dan Burn, 100%.
Right.
So we need somebody who is going to offer a similar physicality as well, as Share isn't the strongest,
Mhm.
although he's still a bit of a unit. So here, as Sanjay points out, a very back-footed defender who uses his intelligence to mop up behind the defensive line. So very similar to what we see Burn do for us. When target gets caught a little bit higher up, Burn is very good at anticipating the pass, tracking the runner. And Burn typically likes to do a big, lanky slide, and we see a lot of them, and he's very good at them. And Botman can do similar. He doesn't always opt for the slide, but it's about positioning. And obviously, there's been a lot of talk about his pace or lack of pace or whatever people have been saying.
Well, that clip there is against Anthony of Ajax, who was
It
absolutely
is
rapid.
indeed.
And
It is indeed.
look at the way Sven copes with him. I saw that the other day, and I thought, wow, you know what I mean? You know, people have been saying, oh, he's slow or whatever, but Anthony's in full flow there, and Sven Botman just eases him off the ball, and what I like about that tackle is, Alex, he doesn't just whack the ball away. He's got the knowledge, the football brain, just to turn and knock it to his left back instead of just, you know, hoofing it up the field.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what I love about Sven. We have so many times last season when we were doing post-match analysis, we were like, oh, well, it wasn't his fault because he wasn't tracking this runner and yada, yada, yada. We were looking at who to blame. Botman here doesn't care. Botman isn't sure if his fullback has got the cover of the runner. He's not sure. So what he does instead is he anticipates the pass and he just goes anyway. He smells the danger. He doesn't. He's not. Fair enough. He's not trusting of his fullback, but if he's not sure, he commits and he tries to do the defensive job for his team. And I love
Yeah.
that because there are going to be times when you're not sure if your players are in the right position. And this is, I'm sorry to say, a little bit different with Lascelles and Clark. This guy's got the anticipation and the awareness, and he's happy to step in. He's always switched on, very focused. And it's about the anticipation. It's body shape, anticipation, and keywords there with body shape. This is why I think he will start ahead of Burn, and why they're not going to partner two left-footed centre backs. I think there's a lot of
Yeah,
our defensive
there's a
work,
couple of comments coming asking, saying that some people think it'll be Burn and Botman, but you know, yes, I mean technically two left-footed centre backs can play together as two right-footed centre backs can, but I think Eddie Howe prefers that right and left foot.
Yeah, I mean, there are games when playing the two left footers is fine. If we are going to push left side, or we've got a specific plan, or we want the physicality and the height, yeah, it will work. It's not a problem. I just think for general, I mean, we've got another article to go on to about that. For general balance of the pitch and for spreading the pitch, having a left and a right-footed balance makes more sense. It means you're not as open to interceptions when trying to pass out from the back. You get an angle where your passes are closer to the touchline. You're much less likely to get intercepted. You can thread the balls through better to your fullback or through the lines to like Joe Linton, for example. It means you can play the long ball, so Botman can do a long ball over the top. I mean, we'll get to that in a minute, but it's just about balance. I'm not saying that Burn and Botman can't play together, because they most definitely can. I just think for the balance of the season, I think it's more likely to be a left and a right footer, especially as we progress to try and dominate games and control a lot more of the ball.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit about what we were talking about with you know, having that, if you know, if say it was Share and Botman to start the season, you know, that's not to say Dan Burn's not going to get any games, because you know there will be rotation there. I'm no doubt about it. You know, if one of them's not feeling too great or has a little knock, then at least we know we can still bring in a quality centre back, and it's not, you know, we're not thinking, oh God, you know, somebody's got to come in who we know is not going to be good enough, like a Jamal Lascelles, for instance. You know, I don't know where that leaves him with the club at the minute, because he's fourth choice centre back now. And I actually think that Fede Fernandez is a better defender than him anyway. So we can talk about that at a later date anyway, and if anything happens with Jamal. But I think it's having that depth of quality, isn't it, that we've been talking about, that we know we've got now if one of them was to get injured.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a consideration with the 5 substitutes rule coming into play as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see Dan Burn or Botman, it depends who starts, one of them coming on as a substitute later on for set pieces or just for extra physicality. it's just far more flexibility in substitutions now, and as you know, we're going to be one of the teams that benefits from that, fortunately. So I would expect lots of minutes for both of them. I don't think it matters. I mean, touch wood, we're unlikely to go out first time in both the cups. So I'd like us to try a little bit harder, and that would
Well, it'd be
hopefully
nice not
pop
to
an
lose to a
extra,
Cambridge or something.
if we can add an extra like 5 games in the season, it gives everybody more minutes. So,
do you think Eddie Howe's going to go with a back three in certain games? Do you think that's what he's looking at as well with the signing of Botman? Do you think he could use sort of Botman, Share, and Dan Burn all together, say against a Man City or something like that we know that we're going to need reinforcements at the back?
potentially, yeah, maybe. There were games where he trusted the lads, he trusted the formation and the instructions and the shape, and we got smashed. So, for example, against Tottenham, we did very well against Liverpool, to be fair, and then we did get smashed against City. So there were games where, and I think Eddie Howe specifically used the word naive a couple of times.
Yeah.
And they got a little bit too excited because we've been doing so well. So trying to match them up and play at the same level as a team who's broken 100 points in the Premier League we're not there yet. So I'm not sure. He's either going to trust his lads to try and kick on from that and still try and match and play strong formations, or like you said, maybe he will try and go. Let's try and go with 3 centre backs and let's try and. It depends. I mean, Eddie Howe from what I've seen, he seems very much like no. I'm always going to try and get 3 points. I'm always going to play my way. We're always going to try and play.
He did state that
when
he became manager, didn't he?
So I'm unsure as to whether he is going to try a back 5. It's possible, but from what he's said personally, it wouldn't surprise me if he just tries to stick with the system that he wants to play and be offensive and aggressive and just try and learn from it. And just if we get smashed, whatever, we'd learn from it. The lads need to learn from it and try again. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Scan says, do we have any under 23s that can step up in central defence to provide cover? Well, Kel Watts has obviously come back from his loan spell, and he is very well thought of. So I think he'll play a part in pre-season as well, because I'm sure Eddie wants to have a look at him, just like you will want to look at Elliot Anderson before they decide eventually what they're going to do with them. Matthew says, I'd like us to get a solid right-footed centre-back, so Lascelles isn't first choice backup at right centre-back. Tiger says, need to get a winger and a striker, then a midfielder before the transfer window shuts. Omar says, Paul, I love you. You are an absolute gentleman. Great chat. Very honest. Always backed Howe. If you're ever in Glasgow, let me know. Thanks, Omar. Really appreciate that, buddy. Zishan, thank you for your $8.99 super chat. He says, hi, Paul and Alex. Paul, is that the new shirt you've got on? If so, what's the size? It's not. It's the old Puma one with that loan company that went out of business on the front. But it's a nice fit, which is what I'm trying to say about something that Castoria certainly aren't. Or I will reserve my judgment until it arrives. Good day, all. Lee from South Africa. Totally stoked with the signing of Botman. We are well covered at centre back. Feelings on Lascelles and Feddy and Clark leaving. If Lascelles leaves, who for captain? Shelvey. Well, we've got our thoughts on captains, haven't we? I mean, look, for me, it's Trippier all day long. I really want Trippier to be captain. I think he's captain material straight away. You saw that last season with the influence he had very early on. As soon as he stepped in for the game against Cambridge, you could see how vocal he was. You could see what kind of leader he is. So for me, it's got to be Trippier. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I would probably say Trippier. Shelvey's done a good job, but I think it's easier to just take the pressure off him and let him play his game when he's on the pitch, because he's got a lot of other things to think about when he does his shielding and his passing. He did a cracking job, but I think he probably a vice captain for Shelvey and captain for Trippier. But that's we've still got to respect Lascelles while he's here. So it depends what happens with Lascelles.
Nigel makes a good point here, saying Botman is two-footed. If you look at the videos, he uses his right foot to put in the tackles. He's very versatile.
It's not about the footed necessarily. It's about your natural side. It's about your sling, your body position, the way you face. which shoulder you drop initially if you're going to try and track a runner. It's about thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of practice. It's about instinct. And we saw, I don't know if anybody watched the England match where Trippier played left back recently. Well, he played a couple, I think, but there was one specifically. It was the one where he landed on his shoulder quite badly. I think it was during a loaded show, possibly. And yeah, he did very well, but you could see he was struggling. It was unnatural for him to try and open up left-sided. It's just, yeah, there are aspects that he could do absolutely fine, but across a 38 game season, where at the highest level, marginal differences are what makes or breaks a game, or gets you 3 points or 0 points. And I'd just prefer if it was its absolute natural position, because it does make a difference at the highest level. Well, when you've got Erling Haaland running off your back shoulder, or Ronaldo, that millisecond, because you've picked your natural running side, or you've turned it might make the difference between conceding a goal and not conceding a goal, in my opinion. Yep. So yeah, there are times when it's absolutely fine, but for balance, I do think it's better to play in a traditional way, left-footed on the left, right-footed on the right. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I'd go with that. I'd go with that. Just before we move on, if you are new to the channel, guys, can you please hit that subscribe button? It is free to do so. Come and join the Toon Review family. Lots of live videos, live shows, videos, etc. on the channel. And you can become a member if you hit the join button, which is just underneath that the video itself. Hit the notification bell, which will let you know when we upload or we go live. And if you want to donate to the channel, like so many wonderful people have already done today, you can hit that $sign at the bottom of the live comments, and that will take you through there. And also, we do have merchandise and, well, mugs at the minute, but a lot more to come. And this is where you can find it.
So let's get down to business. I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you like it now. I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me how you like it. Let's get down to business.
So there you go. If you're a big Toon Review fan and you want to be part of it and feel part of it, get your mugs ordered. But we've got a lot more merchandise coming very soon. And this one will be up on the website a little bit later on. And you know what? We may take controversy for this, but here we go. There it is. So we have the green and white as the third kit, but we have it now in the same colors on a mug. So there you go, guys. You can get that later on the website today. Our manufacturer's back from vacation now, so if you get your orders in, we'll get them sent off straight away. And well, there you go. You can have the green and white version now of the Toon Review mug to celebrate the release of the third kit yesterday. So there you go. Right, Alex, what do you want to bring up next?
We'll just finish off with talking about him sometimes. So some of weaknesses, sometimes getting isolated out wide. He has struggled at times when he gets left alone, which does happen because Renato Sanchez does often go walkabout. Well, sometimes he has cracking games, but there are games when he loses duels, he's a bit out of position, the fullback's kind of out of position, and Botman gets left to clear up quite a lot and gets some of the blame sometimes, and he has to cover wide. So hopefully this will be mitigated by the fact we've got Pope in, who's a bit more of a sweeper, and Matty Target is very confident and very intelligent as well. So I hope, fingers crossed, it will help. And of course, Botman can learn from Burn in training, because Burn's positioning is incredible. He's very, very good. And he's had a lot of different centre mids in front of him with Zeka and Andre and Renato Sanchez, a couple of system changes. So I don't think it's too much of an issue. So primarily, I want to bring up a screenshot. We're not going to press play because we're not allowed to watch YouTube videos, but just a little still of a video of something that everybody criticises Botman for, is the Champions League games or the Chelsea games that most people watched. Because a lot of people will have watched this, but not his Ligue 1 performances. So this is specifically one of the goals he was criticised for. Obviously, they scored a corner, which he couldn't have done anything about. So this is essentially a Chelsea midfielder looking to play, a grass cutter, a nice little through ball through. And somehow Botman gets blamed for this, despite the fact you can see that Lille have matched up 3 defenders to 3 attackers with Botman. I'm pretty sure that's Kai Havertz there he sat on.
Yeah.
So that's his man there. But you can see him looking. He's like, oh dear. He can see what's happening here, and there's nothing he can do to stop it. These 2 central midfielders get sucked in like children, run towards the ball. Unfortunately, the fullback's too far away. This guy appears to have spotted the danger, but he's way too far away, and this ball inevitably gets pinged through here. Botman has to peel off Havertz and try and track the run, and it unfortunately resulted in a goal.
Well, on that still, you can tell what's going to happen there straight away, can't you? Because the Chelsea guy, I'm not sure who the furthest one away there is making the run on the edge of the box. You just know,
Pulisic, possibly,
and you can see Botman's already looking at both of those players, thinking, right, I'm on Havertz here, but he's made that run. He's going to beat my other defenders. There's no doubt about that because he's ahead of them already. And it's not like they're playing, they can't claim offside because obviously
he's aware. There's just not a lot.
He's very, very aware of the situation, and there's not much he can do about that, is there?
Yeah, and I can't press play, but obviously people can have a look at this later on. You can. He does do quite well and slides in. And it's a very tight angled goal.
Alex, I think you can press play, mate, as long as there's no sound on it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's make sure it's fully muted then. So little. There we go. So he has to cover the ground on his own, tries a slide, and it gets dinked in off the far post.
No.
And what irritates me the most about this clip is if you actually watch his teammates as this ball's played,
they all run to
they
the
all
ball.
stop running. They all stop running. They all give up. And
those two on the right hand side, Alex, if you notice, when that ball comes to the Chelsea player, they just run to the ball. They don't seem to have any awareness of what's around them, which puts Botman in a situation straight away.
It does. They either give up, they get drawn to the ball, and then when the pass is played, a lot of them give up. You know, and I mean, I watched a couple of compilations of Thiago Silva yesterday, and he's the same. He never gives up. Never, ever gives up. And Botman seems like one of those centre backs where when all of his teammates think it's done and dusted, he will still go and fight for a lost cause. And again, I've used this phrase many times in the last few days. Geordies love it if people try and they fight for all the lost causes.
Absolutely.
It makes a difference. It's what we want to see.
100%. Stuff of the Toon says, just stumbled across this channel. Excellent so far. Thank you very much. Do drop a subscription. That would be lovely. Funkenstein says, can I just say I love my wife? Yeah, I know it's not football related. You cheese monster. Wow. I'll tell you what are you after? Wow. And there you go again. We skipped again. There we are. Rule number 1, do not leave Botman alone. No, I don't think that's the case. Well, he's got no chance really there, as we just proved. That green mug is awesome. I'll be ordering one of those when payday arrives. Nice one, chaps. How good is Botman in the opposition's box, says Scance.
Well, that was in the back end of the thread. So hang on, if we share screen again, we can actually have a look at this.
Yep.
So you can see on his FB ref touches in the attacking penalty area. So he typically touches the ball once per game in the attacking penalty area, which is typically from set pieces or whatever, from corners and things like that. And shots per game. So not every game, but 6.1 shots per 90. So he's involved in set pieces essentially, and he is a threat. And I think as we saw, he scored 3 goals as well in the season. And I think on the Twitter there was where was his offensive things? There you go. So Sanjay's kindly pointed out 74.8% of area duels won last season, 94th percentile of centre backs in Europe's top 5 leagues. So offensively, nice and dangerous. Hopefully we can see a similar effect like we got when Byrne arrived from set pieces. Byrne didn't score from it, but he was integral in being the player that the ball was played to, and he would bring it back across into the box for the second ball. Obviously that magical Bruno goal that he scored against Southampton was because Byrne, played it back into the So it's integral in little phases of play like that. So yeah, should be very good, hopefully.
Well, it's certainly exciting. Got to be saying a skunk with 2 great black and white stripes just started munching on our lawn. Oh, good grief. Botman was also the one going mental at his team when they were 2-0 down in that game. Aston says, great channel. Hoping now Botman deal is done. We make a move for Paqueta this window with the Milan sell-on clause. Worried if he has a great World Cup, will be out of reach by January. That's actually a very good point, because with the World Cup coming up, Alex, some of these players that we've been linked with and heavily linked with, such as Paqueta, if they go to the World Cup and have an outstanding World Cup, January transfer window's just round the corner from the World Cup. So it may be very harder to bring in these kind of players.
Yeah, well, it's going to be. It's so many unique situations at the moment with the free agent market being the weirdest it's ever been, and then we've got a winter World Cup, and then the window, like you said, straight after it. So whoever excels in a December World Cup is going to be. Obviously, teams don't like selling in January, so it's going to be bizarre, because you're going to have. There's always fresh faces or people who perform outrageously well in World Cups. It always happens, and it's going to be so hard to pry them out in January, whether it's us trying to do that or other teams. So it might be a case. There's going to be a lot of turned heads in January, because there's going to be a lot of people, tapping up players.
Yeah,
who are then going to have to wait for a summer move. It's going to be very, very interesting. And you never know. Maybe we can get a hold of somebody tidy that we've seen in the World Cup as well. I'm sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It's not just who we've been looking at now. It's there is going to be breakout players playing in the World Cup. There's no doubt about that, which the club will look at. We'll no doubt be sending scouts over there. So we just have to see what happens. In fact, Dan Ashworth himself may go over with Eddie. You just don't know. Right, what bit you got next, Alex?
So this was just a little piece from The Athletic about just it's useful if you have a balance of left foot, right foot centre backs in the right positions. It helps. This is a primary example of how it helps, especially with the pressing intensity of the Premier League.
Yeah.
A few of the deep lying sitters have just gone through the trapdoor, such as Burnley. And the teams who have come up play a bit more aggressive football. So we're going to see a lot of this next season, especially with the 5 substitutes rule as well. It's going to be so much more intense. So this is from a couple of seasons ago. I'm pretty sure this is Socrates for Arsenal trying to pick a pass, and they really struggled during this season trying to actually build up from the back. And it was one of Arteta's first things when he came in, was to try and sort out some left-sided centre backs. It's something that Guardiola's has greatly attributed some success to, was Laporte being able to play passes on the left side as well. And you can just see from this diagram, he's right-footed. His passing options using his right foot, if it's not absolutely pinpoint, it's likely to be intercepted, or more likely. You've got 3 players there who are very, very aware that right-footed pass is up there for grabs. They can challenge for that. And later on this, there are many points in this game and other games where you had, when Ozil was still there, where he was unable to thread it through to Ozil. And who that would be for our team, that would essentially probably be Joe Linton standing in that place. And if you can't thread that ball through, what's the point? If you're having to play a short ball to your fullback on the halfway line, that's not in a dangerous place. Similarly, if you can't do a line splitting pass through to your attacking midfielders, obviously there are ways round it, but with the intensity of the Premier League and the gap is closing on talent, anybody's beating anybody. You've got had Palace taking points off City. The gap. Obviously, Liverpool and City are a cut above the rest, but as coaching and nutrition and everything sort of catches up with everybody, teams can all do similar things. I just think it does offer a lot more balance. I won't go too crazy on that. So, like I've said, I'm not saying we shouldn't and we can't. Yes, we can play Botman and Burn. Absolutely fine, not a problem. But I think for the balance of the team across the season, it makes more sense to have a left-footed player on the left and a right-footed player on the right. And then we have the tactics board to show that later. So,
yeah. Maggot says get Ericsson in now. NUFC Fan TV says we should go for Brozier, only 25 million quid. A lot of people are saying obviously go for Paqueta now before the iron gets hot, so to speak. But listen, I think if we're going, We may well have already made inquiries about Paqueta. That's the thing. We don't know what's gone on behind the scenes, and we still don't know. But I genuinely think that now they'll be targeting a striker and a right winger. I don't have any doubt that, if we as fans can identify that's where we need to improve, then there's no doubt in my mind that Dan Ashworth and Eddie Howe will see that as well. But remember that we do have another transfer window in January. I know that it's a while away and stuff like that, but they will be looking to that as well. They're not going to splash everything out in this winter window, and then if we gather injuries or anything like that happens throughout the season, we could be in trouble that way. So I think they will be looking at January as well, and obviously just after the World Cup. So there is other players may well come to fruition as soon as the World Cup starts, and be on our radar from the time it finishes. Joshua says, I love the merch store Adam P showcased on his recent video after he visited the Stadium Club store. I would be like a kid in a candy store there. Yeah, you've got to have plenty of money in your wallet if you want to do that, though. Matthew says, I'd definitely take Broja. Foxy says, I hope Howe can develop Botman on carrying the ball forward progressively. He has good passing, but takes too many touches with the ball when I've watched him at Herenveen and Lille. Interesting. I know Foxy's studied him quite a lot, actually. So, again, I think, though, Alex, that is something that Eddie will work on him with. If Eddie sees that as something that needs to be coached. Remember, he's only 22 years old. He's got a lot of potential to fill, and he's still learning.
So I think it's something he can do quite well. Obviously, yeah. If you watched a lot of him, fair enough. There might be question marks over it, but from what I've seen of him, he can definitely do it better than our alternatives. He seems okay at carrying it out into the centre circle, or if somebody's trying to high press him, he's quite competent at sort of getting around them, dribbling the ball a bit, and then playing a pass, able to get us up the field. He seems okay at that. That's what I like about it. I didn't see it as much of an issue. I mean, I think Herenveen was quite a while ago. That was 3 seasons ago now. But yeah, I'm not too worried about that. And he's still very young, and
exactly.
He should be able to
youth
develop.
Is on his side, isn't it? It's not like we're signing a 29-year-old centre back who's pretty much starting to become in veteran years. He's very young, and he's very talented. And we've got a very young and talented manager who we know can bring players on who were literally write-offs. You look at Joe Linton, etc., Emil Kraft back in the last season. We'd already written them players off before Eddie came in, and look what he's done. Michael Marsden, thank you for your £20 super chat, my friend. Really, really kind, and I hope you're well. I know you texted me yesterday, and it was good to hear from you, buddy. Let's have a look. Something about Luke Edwards there. Where was that gone? No. Oh, there you go. Luke Edwards is in Portugal at the minute. Any links to players out there? Well, Luke Edwards, Luke Edwards can stay in Portugal as far as I'm concerned, because the man just hates Newcastle with a passion. Some people are saying Botman is slow. Well, we've just showed you why he isn't. And I suggest you go and have a look on YouTube and things like that at Sven Botman and see what he does really, really well.
His acceleration's not the greatest, but once he gets up to speed, he's fine. And he has to compensate with his positioning, but it's something he's very aware of himself. He's mentioned it himself in his own interview. It's, and he's not any slower than what we've got already. So,
but am I right in saying, though, Alex, Vincent Kompany wasn't a fast centre back? He wasn't quick. Certainly not when you're talking about Van Dijk pace and things like that. But it helps when you can read the game. As a centre back, if you can, half the battle is reading the game, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Van Dijk's a perfect example of that. If he's slightly out of position, there's a couple of times in the past where you can see in replays where he shouts at the striker. You just do anything. It's these people they're elite. They've lifted trophies. They're winners. And Botman's no different. He was very, very integral in their league win. And I will never forget that with Van Dijk trying to make ground up and just I can't remember who the striker was, but he just screamed in their face to try and put them off. Just anything you can. And he will make sure he try and fills in weaknesses and and improves his game every way he can. I mean, he's been doing that before he's even come to us. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Josh says, just curious, have you done anything about Charlie MacArthur, the 17-year-old we signed from the academy? Well, we have mentioned him on a few shows, but we do plan on doing a show all about the youngsters who we expect to break through or who have the potential to break through. We'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks. So we have that in mind. So we will be talking about him on that one, obviously. Ian says, a good vid is the Sven Botman of Newcastle is the good full season 21-22. Copy paste down into YouTube after the show. Glenn says, I'm just waiting for Eddie Howe to do a Keegan. I'd love it. I'd love it if we beat them. I doubt Eddie Howe would do that, unfortunately. He's too calm to do that, I think, is Eddie. He's on a different mindset. You don't need to be quick if you can read the game and position yourself correctly. Check the courier is having a medical at Palace. I would have took him. Good play him. He's a good player. God, I'm sick of these skipping. He passed it all around the team last year. Well, I have no idea what that is. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Paul. You're welcome. Christopher says, we'll sign that many good players over the next 2 seasons. Wouldn't surprise me if Botman has spells on the bench here and there. Seen it at Man City. Yeah, look, at least Howe has got the choices there now. He can make a lot of different choices during a game. And there is still players to come in. I'm under no doubt about that. So he's going to have a lot of different options. Devin says, I've seen Botman on YouTube, looks great, and he is a ball-playing centre-back. It's exactly what we need. Someone like him who is comfortable bringing the ball out of the box. Exactly. Kanate being unsung for Liverpool. He's a good player, Kanate. I really liked him. Still do. Very, very good player. Bramble was a fat ass that could play football, but riddled with mistakes. Yeah, he could play football, actually. A lot of people slag him off, but he could definitely play, and he could pass the ball. Unfortunately, that didn't work as quick as his feet, and that's why he was prone to lots of mistakes. Good afternoon, Jackie. Lambert says, I was a defender when I was younger. Positioning is certainly key. Right, Alex, I believe you've got a graphics board.
Yeah, so this is just the tactics board to reinforce everything we've talked about with how Botman's going to play. When you've got to put it up.
If I did put it on the screen, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Here we go. So if I can zoom in a tiny bit. There we go. So this is our lads trying to essentially break down a bit of a block, just a mishmash of opposition here. So the benefits of having that left footer in partnering share. This is primarily to show why we should have left foot, right foot. Is the fact that Botman being left footed, can play that pass through to Joe Linton, because Joe Linton is going to be floating around here trying to receive the ball to feet, possibly even higher, and beat off a couple of players. That's exactly how he plays. He's very good at it. Maybe we can try and give him a bit more of a forward role. Now we've got a bit more of a settled group of players here. And then he can play that left-footed pass into target as well, where the target's going to come shorter or overlap. And then you've also got the option of Maxi trying to bend a run behind his fullback, and Botman can play those long balls. So this is something this was what Sanjay mentioned in his thread as well, which I remember Dummett coming out in an interview and saying that in training they were practicing these long balls where Cher will try and ping it over the top of the fullback's head for an on-rushing winger. So ultimately, Botman will have to do the same and be learning it and practicing it in training. It's how Eddie Howe likes to play. And Dummett's confirmed this. This is Dummett who said this, not me. So ultimately, that fares very well, because I think Botman is possibly a better long ball player than Burn and stuff. So being able to have that option to Maxi is very useful. It means
you can just see Botman looking up, can't you, and curling that sort of ball towards the touchline that just starts to bend back into play for Maxi to run onto. He's going to love things like that, isn't he?
Yeah, it just gives us a lot more options there are a lot more quality on the ball, so we can keep the ball, and it gives us more options to break teams down as well. We've got more answers for all these new questions. So Botman here, if he can step and find Bruno, we love Bruno in this sort of position because he's brilliant. Or if he can play a pass into Joe Linton, that's also brilliant. Play Maxi in behind, brilliant. Release target. maybe even a cheeky ball to Wilson, or he can recycle it and it can go out and Shark can do his things, or Trippier can have it here on the edge and do Trippier things. Willock can do box runs. Miggy can come inverted. Like we've just got so many more answers. It's just a lot more balanced. And then if things go wrong, Trippier and Target are a lot more comfortable and sensible as fullbacks, and we have a new sweeper. So it just
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. It's very balanced. We've got a lot more answers to these questions, and we should be able to play a lot better football, and hopefully break teams down a bit more and not play like we did against Cambridge, where we just couldn't score goals. We just didn't know what to do. So
I'm really
I'm
looking
very
forward to
excited for
seeing
this.
how Nick Pope, with that sweeper keeper. I'm really interested to watch him, because that's going to be something new.
I feel like the way, so the way I feel like we're going to see this is when we get caught a bit on the counter. Possibly Target gets caught up here a bit too high, and then we see like we did in some of those highlight videos, where Botman's having to look over his shoulder and follow a runner. So if the ball comes up here and they're trying to chase, Pope will be able to just come out and just boot that away anyway. That's what he's good at. He does that more than was it around two times per game ish.
Yeah.
So if it just gives more safety to Botman. If we do get caught a little bit and Botman has to try and make a recovery run, Pope can sweep, and it's the same for the opposite side of the share as well. If we get caught out on this side with like runners, it just helps that we've got somebody who's able to come out and do those defensive actions. Just fingers crossed we don't see Pope get chipped. That would suck. But
well, I mean
it's the price you
sometimes
pay.
happens, doesn't it? I mean, if he's employed to be a sweeper keeper, if you look back over the years, these sweeper keepers, there is the odd time that they get, lobbed. That's just a fact because of the position that they are. But I think Nick Pope's awareness is one very, very good point that he's got about his game. He's very aware of what's around him and very aware of whether he's got a chance to get the ball, if you know what I mean. So he will make that decision to come out. And I would think that, what I've seen of Nick Pope, certainly he's got a good, sensible head on him, and he knows when to come out. He knows when to stay back, and he doesn't create absolute panic. We've known a few keepers over the years that have done that. They've just come. Carl Darlow, for one, did that on numerous occasions. He used to come blazing out his box, and then he'd get sort of 3/4 of the way there, and he'd think, I'm not getting to this. And then he wouldn't even start running backwards. He'd just freeze. But with Nick Pope, I think it's different.
Yeah, I do think it's going to work a lot better with Pope and with just everybody. And I think it's going to help Botman as well, because there were a few times last year where Target was getting matched up against somebody at the back post, and he lost a lot. It was annoying. It wasn't his fault. It's just we ran out of men. It's just how overloads work. Whereas Botman, it's going to be a bit easier for us, especially for Botman, because Botman had Renato Sanchez covering him in front, whereas now he's got this guy. So I'm hoping, obviously, Bert still does a cracking job as well. He's incredible in the air, but I feel like Botman will have a bit more of a confident central midfielder in front of him, because Joelinton was tasked with coming back and helping in sort of left-sided defensive positions and being involved to defend set pieces. So I feel like Joelinton's gonna help Botman a bit more than Renato Sanchez did at Lille. So a little bit better. We've still got to try and protect Target a bit more this year, because we got caught out of the back post quite a lot. And we'll hopefully track a few more runners. But there were a few situations where we lost runners into the box. So when we conceded against West Ham, was it Dawson who scored against us for West Ham? And then the next game as well, we got Lewis dunked from this pretty much an identical set piece.
Yeah.
And it was Murphy that lost a runner and then Wood that lost a runner. So hopefully we can try and stop that next season with just Target not getting caught at the back post on his own, which is not his fault. We just need to try and plan for that. And then people just being able to pick runners up and have it. Yeah, it's balanced. It's very nice. And then we've still got Burn to come in if we need. He could even play ahead. Obviously, we've got 5 pre-season fixtures lined up.
Let's not forget, Alex, Burn can cover left back as well, should we get an injury to Target.
I know Dummett's there, but left back. I mean, mid-game positionally, that's great as well. It means if people get caught out, he can just float. It's very balanced and healthy. It's very nice.
Yeah, very much looking forward to that. Listen, I think what we've deciphered from this show is we've got a hell of a signing there, Alex. There's no doubt about it, and it's worth the wait, I reckon. Obviously it's been a right pain in the arse since January. Are we getting him? Are we not? Is he going to Milan? Is he not? He's never once spoken about it. All the negative stuff for me during this transfer saga has been from the Italian press, who've obviously been trying to scupper the deal somewhere along the line, because the French media never said anything. The English media were just, saying he's either going to Milan or Newcastle. And it was always the Italian media that was sticking the knife in. But now it's, and you can see that because of the Italian media's reaction on social media. They are, to say they're salty is an understatement. It really is. They have hated what has gone on here with this deal, and the fact that the mighty AC Milan have been beaten to, let's face it, a possible world-class defender by Newcastle United. And it doesn't sit well with a lot of Italians, but they're going to have to get used to it.
Well, there's no fresh water left in Italy at the moment, so they're going to have to get used to that as well.
Yep.
They are not happy about it. And then they've done the classical approach of just pretending they didn't care that much and they didn't really want him either. Or that he's just gone for money as well. Not that he wants to play in the Premier League against Haaland and Cristiano Ronaldo in the best league in the world. No, it's not that. It's only money. Of course he wants to play in the Premier League. The stadium was absolutely immense at the end of last season. He'll be aware of that. He can play in a packed stadium, be loved. He could be a company style signing. He could even be a future captain. You never know. And play against some of the best strikers in the world. Of course he wants to. It's not only about money. It's a great opportunity.
I can't wait to see him on the pitch and what he brings to us. And of course, 2 friendlies to announce that during the tour of Austria, Alex.
Yes.
Do you want to say who they are?
1860 München or Munich.
Munchen, yeah.
So it's the real Munich. I love these guys. They never get any airtime.
I think Newcastle played them in a European competition way back. I'm sure they did. The name rings a bell, and I think it was the early doors that we played. It may have actually been a friendly, but I think we did play them. But the real Munich, yeah.
They are. They're in the 3rd tier in the Bundesliga 3. So obviously they're Bayern Munich's rivals, but yeah, they're 3 tiers down. They're a very popular choice on football games and stuff to try and get back up to the Bundesliga and rival Bayern. And then we've got Mainz as the second fixture, and then the ones that we already know. What is it? We've got Benfica, Bilbao, and
very strange
Atalanta,
that we're going to Austria, but we're playing 2 German teams. Very strange. I know they're next door, but it just, you'd think that maybe they could have took on Salzburg or places like that, but hey, or Austria Vienna. But I think it's 2 good opponents, Alex.
Well, I don't know if Munich's particularly challenging for us, but
no, but I mean good for fitness. I don't mean good as in like a battle.
I mean,
it's a good test.
You can see, unlike previous seasons, you can see that there's been thought. We've started off with the easiest game against the 3rd tier side in the 3rd Bundesliga, and then Mainz obviously are a lot stronger, and then going into playing against 3 like top 8 finishers in Europe in strong leagues. So they've scaled it appropriately. It means that we won't need adaptation time for transfers or for people like Botman, because he will probably rotate Botman, Burn, Charles, Lascelles. They'll all get minutes. Everybody will get minutes. Everybody will be fit. He'll see how people fare in the system. And we get to watch some games against some great teams, and it should be amazing. It's just win-win. It really is. It's like fingers crossed nobody gets hurt.
It's so much different now than going to York City, Rotherham, Doncaster, Burton Albion. It's very, very different. I mean, I know COVID probably played a part in that as well, didn't it? So, Keith Dites, thank you for your $10 super chat in the States there. Missed most of the show. 5 hours behind you guys here. Botman is a major piece for the future. What a signing. Absolutely, Keith. Foxy says, we played 1860 Munich in the Intertoto Cup, I'm sure. I think it was. Solano scored and we won 3-2 away. Yes, it may have been the Intertoto. God help us. What a time that was. Apparently, Haaland's had his lips done. and he looks a bit like a fish. I haven't seen any photos of that, but again, we'll see. Jack says, afternoon, gents. Fantastic signing for your lads. Quite a very good transfer fee considering the great experience he's going to bring to the defence. Yes. Erling Sausage Limps Heart. He must have, because there's a few comments coming in. And then Ian says, Big Dan Burn would pop Haaland's lips if he gets half a chance. Why? Peter says, hi, Paul and Alex. Apparently, the Toon have a behind doors gate. Yes, they do. I think it's, is it next week or the week after? It's a behind closed doors
soon.
Against Gateshead. So I think that's the first one. And I think that's just basically been be used as a sort of run out game and get the legs going a little bit. As pre-season is, you do all the hard running. You get all the pre-season to build up your fitness and stuff like that.
Because all of our lads are in Ibiza or on boats or having parties, so they need to warm up carefully.
Yeah, they are. But a lot of people are putting comments in about the budget, Alex, and saying that it's going to be very. Have we got any money and things like that with the FFP? I think people need to understand as well that the way Newcastle seem to have been approaching these deals is that they're looking to pay over time in instalments, which obviously helps out with the FFP, and the free agent market is upon us as well shortly. So it could be a huge. We don't know who they're looking at on that side of things.
Yeah. Obviously, there is. It's not about how much money there is left. I don't think that's. This is exactly why it was very ridiculous that reporters were quoting prices. I genuinely think this was done on purpose to try and help us as a club with our summer. Try and reduce expectations of how much we were going to spend. But it's not about how much money's in the pot. It's about if players are available and we need something for the team, they'll open the pot. It's how it's going to work. It's not about how much money's available. Obviously, to a point, we can't just go mental. But even for a position that we don't need, if there's a position we don't need, but there is an absolute stellar bargain out there for an absolute gem who we can either sell on or is going to be integral in the first team, we'll probably go for it. Like we're at that point now where we can just hoover up talent if we need to, or if we want to, or if it fits the plan. It's not about budget necessarily anymore. There's different parts to it.
I mean, there's good points. I mean, Ian says there that the owners said there's no budget. If it's a good deal, we'll go for it. And I've always been along those lines. Is that's what they're going to do. And also, Gary says the club's financial years tend to start on end on the end of June and start on the 1st of July. So I see a few more deals being done once the 1st of July hits. I'm certainly interested to see if we're in for anybody on a free transfer. But finally, Alex, you want to have a look at Botman's injuries?
Just to show people, we've got to look at the good and the bad, and got to look at everything fairly. So a long time ago, some kidney problems. Don't really know what that was. And then obviously last season he only played, what was it? Was it 25 appearances? I've forgotten what it was now. Groin injury, hamstring injury. So two separate sort of leg injuries for a reasonable amount of time. 47 days out with the groin and 37 out with the hamstring. But he came back and it was absolutely fine. So, and as you saw from...
they're normal football and injuries, aren't they? It's not like it screams out to you, oh, he's injury prone. They're football and injuries.
Exactly. I mean, some of those clips that you saw throughout the show were of games since he's come back from that hamstring injury. So he's more than capable of doing those explosive runs. He seems to have come back and is absolutely fine. So it's just something to note. Hopefully it's not an issue. He'll have been given time off. It's pre-season now, so hopefully he's monitored and used carefully by us. And this has been a theme with the new coaching staff and our new system is about intensity. We did get quite a few injuries early doors when Eddie Howe came in because the lads weren't fit, and we tried to swap to a higher intensity system, and we did get a lot of niggles. Joe Linton struggled, obviously Jamal Lewis struggled. A lot of the lads struggled with the intensity of it and the explosiveness. So hopefully people will be a lot more familiar with it, and we've got a full pre-season for these new transfers to bed in. A lot of games we can give them time, and fingers crossed try and not get any more any more soft tissue injuries. That would be ideal, preferably for Callum Wilson as well. It would be very nice if he can stay fit.
Well, hopefully he can, but that's just the way it goes. We'll just see with a preseason under Eddie how good he turns out to be. But that's it, guys. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Don't forget, this will be available on the website within the next hour. That's my job straight after this show, is to go and get that put on the website. It will be available for everybody. The new green and white in the, paying homage to our third kit. So get yourself one of those as soon as you can. We'll get the orders off to the manufacturer. It should be very interesting to see how many people want one of them, because they're very, very nice mugs indeed. But thank you very much for watching today. We hope that you've had a bit more of a bigger insight now into Sven Botman and what he will bring to the club. Certainly, I think a lot of people have had their eyes opened as to how good this guy can actually be. Now that we've gone through all the stats and we've shown you, the ups and downs of some of the negative comments that Sven Botman has faced, and why it's not necessarily a major cause for concern. His injury record's not too bad at all. I'm very excited about what Sven Botman's going to bring to Newcastle United. Can't wait to see him in action, and I can't wait to get this new season kicked off. But loads of stuff coming to the Toon Review YouTube channel. We've got another transfer show tomorrow night. We've got the TTR Friday on obviously Friday night with me, Billy and Danielle, because I think Alex will be traveling. But we'll see on that one. And obviously it's got Billy's beef, and we've got the 5-minute rant from Danielle as well, and a lot of new stuff coming onto that show as well every Friday night. So looking forward to that one. So if you are new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. It is free to do so. Well on the way to 12k now, not far away at all, which will be an unbelievable achievement for us. And onwards and upwards with the channel. You can also hit the notification bell, which will let you know if we do upload a video or we schedule to go live. And thank you to everybody that has sent in a donation to the channel today. Very, very kind of you. We hope you've had a great show and really enjoyed it and had your eyes opened. Alex, thank you very much. Thank you to the mods as well. And the next scheduled live show is tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, I believe. So we will see you then, unless something dramatic happens at the Toon and we go live again. But for now, take care, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you later.